Alright, welcome back YouTubers. It's been a while since I posted anything, so I just wanted to bring you guys up to date on my latest project. I hope you guys enjoy it. And here it is. This may not look like a whole lot to you guys, but these are all the parts I just pulled off this TJ Wrangler that I just bought for my 15-year-old daughter. She's turning 16 in about 1 month. So that's the timetable to get this thing on the road and looking good for her debut at the high school this fall. So as you can see, I pulled a lot of stuff off the Wrangler already. Doors, roll bar, soft top seats. It's in dire need of paint. So let me run you next door and I'll show you what we're up to. Wrangler. Round headlights. That means we've got coil springs under this thing. 1997 was the very first year they put coil springs under a Wrangler. So that's one of the reasons I wanted the TJ series, to give my girl a little bit better ride quality. As you can see, we got the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder on this Jeep. It's 150 horsepower or something like that. Not a whole lot of horsepower, but it's a light vehicle, 3,000 pounds. Seems to do okay around town. 70, 75 on the highway, it's about it though. You're not going to be winning any races, that's for sure. Alright, so what have I done to this Jeep so far? Well, we got it for a pretty good price. We paid $3,500 for it, but it has some issues. One issue, of course, is that we had 0 dash lights and 0 running lights. Amazingly, a fuse fixed that, so I was happy about that. We also had this huge exhaust leak coming from the exhaust manifold. I saw immediately we were missing one of the bolts, so I wasn't too concerned about it. But once I got it home and started taking things apart, we weren't missing a bolt. The bolt was broken off in the cylinder head. So once I removed the exhaust manifold, which was horribly cracked, I've never seen an exhaust manifold crack that badly before. Once I removed the exhaust manifold, I was able to remove the power steering pump and kind of push the intake manifold off to the side, and I was able to drill out the broken stud. I put a new stud in there as opposed to a bolt, and got a nut holding everything, well, holding the front and the back to the block. So I got studs front and back. The rest of them are regular bolts. If you remember these 2.5 4-cylinders, you'll know what I mean there. So that got the engine running a lot more smoothly. I bought some platinum tip plugs for it, but when I pulled the old ones out, they already had platinum tip plugs in there. Let's see here. There was an electrical issue. It would start, sometimes it wouldn't start. This is funny. Let me show you this. Alright, look at these beautiful battery connectors here. The previous owner had painted the positive red in case he ever forgot which was which. But when he painted this lead terminal, oh, and the other one's painted black too. I didn't think about that. But when he painted this thing red, he actually painted inside as well. So the only parts that were really making contact with the wires was this galvanized steel outer clamp and a little bit of lead on the inside that he had scraped out. But he left all the paint underneath here. I should probably check out the negative as well. I just thought about that. He probably has black paint underneath there as well. But it starts so much better just removing that red paint from underneath this terminal clamp. So that was kind of funny. Another issue we had is the horn would not work. there is a horn relay in this fuse box right here, and it seemed to be working well. Let's see here, the horn is this one right here. The relay seemed to be clicking, but it was clicking all the time. You pull this thing out, and as soon as you place it in there, click, you can hear it click. In fact, I can hear it click right now. So this relay is currently engaged. Oh, it's actually warm right now. So what I should probably do is pull this 20 amp fuse before I forget. There we go. Okay. So right there, it's like the middle fuse on the outside. It's a 20 amp fuse. This thing was popping on like there's no tomorrow. And so I went to the front to look at the steering wheel. Let me show you that real quick. Okay, so I checked all the wiring from the relay to the steering wheel and the steering wheel to the horns, and I didn't find any shorts anywhere. The little rotary switch in the steering column was fine. That all checked out. So turns out that this horn button was constantly in the on position. So I pulled the airbag out, removed the airbag from the steering wheel, cut the switch out of this cover, loosened it up. It was looking great on paper. I was checking it with a voltmeter. Everything was wonderful. Put it back inside. Worked for a day or so. Then all of a sudden it started going off again. It wouldn't stop. So I had to disconnect it. So I'm going to have to do something about that steering wheel airbag cover. This cover here is over $100. I've used, no guarantee if it's going to work or not. I don't know. There should be a better way. Okay, there should be a better way. And lastly, with the horn, I had a shorted horn, blown horn. You can see I've got this one horn taped up here because every time I plug it in, I pop a fuse. The other one is working. One horn is all you need to pass inspection here in Texas. So I'll eventually be buying a replacement horn, not right now. So multiple issues going on, but I think I've got pretty much mostly sorted it out now. The original owner was very frustrated with the Jeep. He was at his wit's end. He couldn't figure it out, but we got it sorted out, and hopefully it'll be a good running vehicle for my little girl. Alright, so as you can also see on this Jeep that the paint has certainly seen better ways. I think this is a respray. Paint on the fender is badly faded. It's coming off, worn. Clear coat's coming off the hood. So this entire Jeep's going to get a redo, a repaint. And we're going to go with the same colors and do something to make my little girl proud to drive this thing to the high school. We are in the process of painting the interior, and this was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Because of the limited access to the underfoot areas, I had a hard time getting my spray gun up in there. And we got a lot of overspray, dry spray I should say. A lot of dry spray. I couldn't maintain my distance to the firewall, so I had to go back through here. We had to sand this down with 600 grit to get it ready for the gloss coat. But as you can see, just taping off the back half and just working on the front half, we got a pretty nice result there. It's a really nice gloss. So next time you see this thing, we'll be taping this part off and spraying the back. And I'll try to get more video for you guys. So again, follow along. Alright, well, I'm a little bit disappointed in the way the tub of the Jeep turned out. It was very difficult to spray because of several factors. One, you got a lot of dust up underneath the dash that keeps coming out. So you saw me partition off just the front section from the back section. Two, there's a lot of angles involved in painting this Jeep. I mean, you got these little edges underneath here. You got these negative angles you have to fill with gloss. You've got the edges up underneath the top rail there. It's a lot of different angles to cover, and it's difficult to apply the gloss in adequate thickness to get the shine that you want. And then when you go back later on, you know, and try to hit that second coat, runs are an issue, dry spray is an issue. It's just very difficult. If I were to do this again, I would probably paint this in little sections. Like I would probably just focus on this back quarter here and get a small touch-up gun and then just spray that. Just spend an hour spraying that. Wait a day or two, tape it off, go on to another section, or maybe just this floor section here with a touch-up gun and spray that. Using a full-size spray gun was very difficult. And third, spraying in 100-degree heat. My slow reducer, I think, is set for like 80 to 90 degrees, and I think the gloss was drying a little bit too quick for me, being 100 degrees, or who knows how hot, maybe even hotter than that inside the garage. So lots of difficulties in spraying this. I'm gonna go ahead and unmask it. You know, we can probably do a little buffing here and there to try to bring back some of the shine. But a lot of this will be covered up by seats. So let's see how my little girl likes it. It's time to keep on. Keep on going. Alright, so I'm not gonna worry about the inside of the Jeep anymore. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a few days to dry. We'll see if it'll buff out, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna work on getting the outside of this Jeep ready. The outside is the most important part, so let's get these fender flares off and start working on the body. Alright, there we go. That was a little tougher to get off than I was expecting. A lot of these screws have these rubber nuts on the back side, and you need to take the inner fender liner off, or at least loosen it up to get to them. These little rubber blocks there. That's like a huge source of paint contamination, so I might just go ahead and remove the liner completely here, so we get everything cleaned up and washed down, so I have less chance of getting crud in my final paint. So anyway, that's one, ready to go. Alright, and there is the inner fender. Dirty as can be. Alright, new parking brake cable, courtesy Rock Auto. Just drops in there. How did I drop it in there? Like that. Alright, so I'm trying to take off this spare tire mount, and I've got it all disconnected, but there is no easy disconnect for the wiring. Now pull this out, it's not on top. Over here the grommet, nothing behind this grommet back here. And on the inside I pulled the cover, and again, nothing to really push through. This doesn't seem to be a good way here. I hate to cut the wire. Oh, there we go. That's how we're going to do it. So these are like little bullet connectors on these metal pins here. So we're going to pull that through. Yay! So I don't have to cut the wires. Good. Well, if it'll go through, looks like they'll go through only one at a time. One, two. All right, so now this thing will come out. Cool. All right, figured that one out. Okay, so anyway, I took the grill off the front of the Jeep so that I can paint it better. The roll bar was in the way down here. I just wanted to do it right. It's like 6 bolts on either side and maybe 3 down the side, and of course the big one in the middle here. But while I had this thing out, I wanted to check out the air conditioning. The bolts that hold the lines to the condenser broke off on me. Wimpy little bolts. So I'll probably have to drill those things out and try to save this condenser. I'll have to go to Rock Auto and see how much a new condenser is, but I'll probably try to save it. I also have to drill out these mounting brackets and put like a piece of angle aluminum on here, as these were busted from the previous owner. And this is interesting. This may be the cause of failure right here. I said this line, this piece out of the way, is severely corroded. The paint is coming off of it. So I'm thinking, could that be some damage from a Freon type substance, a leak or something like that? So I'll pop that one off first, and let me show you what I got. Look at those crappy O-rings. I've never seen an O-ring that bad ever hold. So that might be my problem right there. The previous owner said that it wouldn't hold the charge for even a month, and I can certainly imagine that leaking. But I'm going to go ahead and take off the other lines and see how they look as well. If you're going to replace one, you might as well replace them all before you throw the money on Freon. Alright, well, I got to get a couple of O-rings. Well, more than a couple. I need to get quite a few O-rings for this AC system. And then I'm going to put a suction on it, draw it down a bit, and see if it holds. If everything looks good, then I'll drop some more Freon and some oil inside and see how it goes. Hopefully I'll keep my girl cool. That's about it for this video. I didn't want to get too long for the introduction, so stay tuned. We'll be painting this thing, fixing the AC, and some more fun stuff. See you later.